Hey, my friend, you're watching or listening to the Erin Chase Show, where we chat all things intentional living and trying to find that ever elusive balance that we crave in our busy and overwhelming lives. I am your host, Erin Chase, and I'm so excited about today's topic. We're going to answer the question of how did you cut your grocery spending in half? I'm going to answer that. I'm going to share all about my grocery savings workshop that you can take for free. That link is here on the video. I'm also going to share some information about who it's for, why you need to take it, especially right now. So stick around, and we have some great information to share with you today. Good afternoon, my friend Linda. I'm so excited to share this with you and everyone today. All about spending less money on groceries, ending overspending. Overspending, spending less, saving more. I don't care what you want to call it. It doesn't matter. In the end, it all means the same thing, that we are here to be more prudent and wise stewards of the dollars that we spend on our food. And mostly I'll be talking about groceries, but I think that's been thrown off balance in the last year with groceries and going out to eat less, or maybe you're ordering DoorDash all the time and not getting enough from the grocery store because that's really expensive to do DoorDash all the time. Stop doing DoorDash all the time. Okay, so we're going to get into all of that and how it got started and who it's for and why you should, at the very least, take my grocery savings workshop that is completely free to do. We're going to get into all of that here in just a second. So, years ago, when I started $5 dinners, I would get the email daily, more than once a day. How do you cut your grocery spending in half? Because I did, and it's still very low compared to what it could be for a family with 4 boys, 2 of whom are teenagers and 3 of whom eat like teenagers, and 1 who in a growth spurt will eat like a teenager. So there's a lot. And yes, I may or may not be working on the Feeding Teenage Boys on a Budget cookbook, but I'm actually not, but it's crossed my mind a few times because holy cow, can these boys eat. So, but it's still way lower than you might think it would be. And so, cutting your grocery bill in half, when I first started $5 dinners, I went from spending $500 for our family of 4 little boys at the time a month down to $250. And I did that using a very specific strategy, and it's too much to answer in an email. It's just too much to answer in an email for a number of reasons, because there are several parts to this whole process, and there are your struggles with the grocery planning process might not be the same as, your friends or your neighbors or your aunts or whoever, right? So there are different parts of the process where different people break down. And by breakdown, I mean don't do well, so therefore end up spending more than they should. And so with the Grocery Budget Makeover, it's designed to give you the big picture of, the strategy, the process, the overall. And it's designed to help you figure out, okay, I'm really not great at the shopping list part. I'm really I'm just chicken scratching on the back, on the back of an envelope, stop that business. Whichever one of these parts that you're breaking down, I'm going to help you identify that and then get better. Try different things to get better at that particular thing. And then you'll see overall that, your spending will go down when you piece it all together and you really dial in on the area or areas, because there are lots of people who struggle with all of it or a lot of it, to help you in the end spend less money on groceries. So when I realized that I could basically take a video, this is a live streamed video, but I have recorded videos and worksheets, which have morphed into a workbook that I will mail you, that goes with the full class, with text, with email support. I realized that I could answer this question of how did I cut my grocery spending in half, and how do I still keep it so low, is this whole strategy. But I can't, it's too much for one email. So I I broke it down, and I built it into an online class. And I'll share a little bit about what that means and what that looks like as well. And I think the reason that it is done so well, it has helped tens of thousands of shoppers at this point. I set it up 6 years ago, and I do have a master's degree in curriculum and instructional design, essentially. And so even though this isn't like a broad, semester-long curriculum, it's designed with specific objectives and designed to help you get results that you're looking for, which is spend less money on groceries. And so I think my love of technology and working on the internet, plus the experience that I have in building out sort of curriculum in the past for, other types of educational programs, that it's just done so well. And I did create it 6 years ago. And I will say that the strategies and the system from 6 years ago still works today. Prices have changed slightly. A couple years ago, there was a big hike in beef prices because of a drought and the cattle and the beef market issues. We've seen a teeny tiny uptick this last year. Not apart from all the crazy stockpiling that's gone on, there's been a little bit of an uptick in baseline prices. That also varies by region. So despite these regional differences and these pricing changes, and sometimes meat's a little more expensive than other times, it doesn't matter. This whole system just works. Okay, it just works. Not to get all braggy, but it really does work. And that's why I'm sharing it with you here today. It started because I wanted to be able to teach more people, and I wanted to not be able to write paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs in pages and pages and pages. And it's also designed to really get targeted with you specifically. And in order for me to help as many people as I can and as I want to, I needed to set it up as an online course. And so what that means is there are videos and information on the page with the video and worksheets and the workbook. And we have emails as well that kind of fit everything together. And that is all done on our Grocery Budget Makeover website. You can sign up there. You can sign up for the free workshop there, which you can just access at any time. And then if you do decide to join the course, I will mail you a workbook, and then you get a login access to access the class content, the videos, the written, text and things like that, the resource links and all the things that come with each of the lessons. So you can log in to do that. It is completely self-paced. You can do it whenever you want. I do have a loose schedule that I recommend, that I tell you about, but you don't have to. I've had people say, hey, I'm, going to be out of town for 2 weeks. I want to sign up now. You can start it 2 weeks from now. Does not matter. Okay. So it's totally up to you of how you want to do that. So that's just kind of an overview. We have a free workshop again that just kind of gives you the highlights, and it goes over the 5 mistakes that you are probably making with your grocery shopping. And those mistakes and how to fix them correlate with a deeper dive that happens in the actual full makeover class. So you can do one or the other, and many people do both. And so it's completely up to you, completely, when you're ready to do a deeper dive and really get serious about your grocery spending, then the course is absolutely the best place for you to start. So why the makeover? Because it's a deeper dive. There's accountability in our group. There's support from me. There's just more there to help you in your journey of spending less. And when you're invested, you will go after those results. And we are looking for spending less on groceries. And if you can invest in the makeover, it's not expensive. I can go out on a limb. I can't I can, I guess. I will save you the registration of the course in the first month for sure. For most people, they say in the first 2 weeks or the first week they go to the grocery store after taking some of the lessons. And so it's pretty much one of those investments that's going to pay back itself. And I have yet to have tens of thousands of people go through this. I've yet to have somebody come back and say, I didn't save as much as this, as much as I invested here. Never once. So there's a good reason right there to become a part of what we're doing. At the very least, the free workshop. And of course we have the class. Now, who is the Grocery Budget Makeover for? So I have had people from all over the world take it. I've had people from all kind of, stages of life, let's say. So let me start with the youngest. This is a phenomenal option if you have kiddos who you want to give it's like half personal finance, half home ec, life class lessons, life skills. I've had people who get it for their teenagers. If you're homeschooling, while I'm not an official curriculum, it's 100% built like a curriculum and could absolutely be a sort of life skills, home ec, personal finance-ish option for your kiddos. Let me just teach them for you. The start to finish process of getting ready for the grocery store and being successful and not overspending. So there's that kind of age group. There's college kids and maybe young 20s, maybe newlyweds. The reason I think it's super crucial at that stage of life to learn these things, I wish I knew these things at that stage, is because one, you're on a super tight budget. You've got to be super scrappy. And there are some really important tactical things that I can teach you that are going to help you through that part of your life. So think about it this way. And this is for regardless of what stage of life you're in. I said this in an interview that I did last week. I'm not sure when it'll air, but of course I will share it here when it does. But I like to think about the what if, or what could I? What could I use the money I don't spend on groceries for? So what could I use $100 a month? What could I apply that towards, right? So let's say I can save you $100 a month, $200 a month. If you're really grossly overspending right now, it could be $300 or $400 a month. What could you do with $100 a month? Well, if you're in your 20s and you can save or spend $100 less on your groceries, and you put that $100 into a retirement fund or a S&P 500 ETF or something, some investment vehicle, call it that, that's going to be worth a lot of money. If you could take $100 a month and invest that into your future, that's going to compound like crazy. And that's a big pile. That's forward thinking. What could you do with this extra $100? Maybe you have a bill that just came up, or you have a medical expense that popped up, or the dentist, or like something. We all have something that we could do with $100 a month. So I want you to think about it that way. So if you're younger, or know somebody who's younger, then think about it that way. Talk to them about it that way. Like, what could you do with this money? Because the one line in our personal finance, in our budgets, I got ahead of myself there. The one line in our personal finance budget that we can fully control. If you needed to find $100 this week, you're going to find it in your grocery budget. You're going to find it already in your pantry. You can spend a little bit less because you have some pasta and some sauce. You can just do a simple pasta meal instead of either going out to eat or cooking something else or buying more groceries to cook fresh at home. You have $100 in your pantry or your freezer, or 50 or 30, whatever. I know, different size families, different amount of food on hand, right? But that's where you're going to find money. If you need money quickly, you're going to find it in your grocery budget. If you need a lot of money quickly, start eating ramen. Okay. Now, I'm all for balanced diets and eating well and eating healthy. Don't get me wrong. But all that to say, the example is, in the message there is, if you're looking for quick money, it's going to be in your food budget. It just is. You could refinance. Now's a great time to refinance because the rates are so low. Like, you can maybe call and negotiate your cell phone bill. You can do a little bit, but if you really need money, or you need it consistently for the next couple of weeks or months, it's going to be in your food budget. We just have to be intentional. The whole purpose of this show is about intentional living. And today, obviously, we're talking specifically about grocery spending and shopping and all of those things. And so there's my little soapbox that I'll step off of now. So, all right. So let's talk now about the plan, implement, evaluate. So if you've ever listened to one of my podcasts from seasons 1 through 3 that are podcast players, YouTube, they're also here on Facebook under the videos tab. You know that each of our episodes, we have 2 parts to the episode that is really designed to help you think differently and help you take action and get results. So the first is PIE, which is my acronym for intentional living, which stands for plan, implement, evaluate. And so PIE is, we're going to plan something, we're going to implement it, and we're going to evaluate and see how it did. So what does that look like with grocery shopping? So for the P, for plan, we're going to plan our shopping trip, right? We're going to make a meal plan. We're going to make a shopping list. We're going to plan before we go to the store. I do not. Sorry, my puppy's right here playing with her toys, making some noise. I don't want you to just walk right into the grocery store and like grab the flyer, or just not grab the flyer and just like wander through and grab things. I call that the grab and drop. You just go down and just, none of that. Stop that business right now. I want you to plan. So we're going to plan And then I want you to shop and only buy what you put on your shopping list. That's going to trip you up. I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that that's going to trip you up. Maybe it won't. Maybe you are super diligent and super disciplined. I would say that you are the top 1% of 1% who can do that. It's so easy to squirrel in the grocery store. The entire grocery store is designed to make you squirrel and impulse buy. Okay. So I want you to make your list and I want you to stick to your list. That's plan, that's implement. And then evaluate is, how did it go? Did you resist? I'll just give you a little sneak peek. My personal impulse buy that is, I guess, somewhat habitual is I just want, by the time I roll up to the checkout, I've got my cart full of groceries for my boys. I just want a Twix bar. There's just something about the Twix. I don't know what it is. I just want to have one. And so did I avoid the Twix bar is going to be one of the things that I'm like, how did this trip go? Did I get everything that I need? Did I stick to my list? Did I not get the Twix bar? Did I avoid maybe something, the bakery had something baking and I wheel over to get it? Stick to your list. How did it go? I mean, what do you need to do differently? Did you not have enough of a meal plan written down? Did you need to reposition the way you do your shopping list? All the things that we talk about in the class. The evaluate piece of that helps you kind of figure out where you're breaking down and what you can be doing better. So that is pie. And then the last section of my episodes here is the think, feel, take action. And the premise of that real quick is how we think about something is how we feel about it, which is going to help determine the actions we take and the results we get. Okay. So if we're trying to get lower spending of our groceries, we're going to work this backwards. Okay. So the end result is spending less money on groceries. Okay. So the action that I want you to take is to write down a target grocery amount that's less than what you're currently spending. Okay. Don't take what you're currently spending or more, go for less, which is going to require you to look at what you've been spending. Okay. It's a tough exercise. So what have you been spending? Write down your new target. Okay. So then the feeling you're going to have is that you're going to feel successful when you're leaving the store because you hit your target, which means we need to think about this as a grocery challenge. I did that. I reverse engineered that. Okay. I went backwards. I'm going to go forward. Don't worry. Okay. So I want you to think about grocery shopping as a challenge. Okay. It's almost like a game. And I want you to feel successful, like excited when you're walking out of the store, not like, oh my gosh, I just flushed so much money down the drain. I want the opposite of that. I want excited when we leave the store. And in order to, we need to think challenge. We need to feel excited. We need to write down a target amount and go spend less than that. That's our take action. So writing down how much you want to spend at your next, depends on how often you shop, right? Take an average of your monthly spending and how often you shop and like make a target of, okay, if you're regularly spending $225 a week on groceries right now, let's go for $175 or $200. It doesn't have to be a gross percentage less, a large percentage less, right? Just a little bit less than what you have been spending. 5 to 10 to 15, 20%, depending on how aggressive that you want to be, how much of a challenge you are ready to take on. And remember, you have food on hand. You have your pantry, you have your freezer to help fill in maybe a few of the gaps or maybe one or two of the meals that you have on your menu. So think challenge, feel super excited when you leave the store. Taking action is then going to be writing down that number and then, getting your shopping done and coming in underneath of that number. And then you're going to just be like, Erin, you're my new best friend, right? Okay. So that is that. So the first thing I want you to do, there are 2 links here on the video. We're going to wrap this up here. The first is, if you're listening in a podcast player, they will be in the show notes, which is down below. Typically, if you scroll, you'll see it down below the episode information on your podcast player. So the first thing that I want you to do is this. Either join our free workshop, which outlines the 5 most common mistakes that you're making in the store. It's very similar. You'll also email you a link, you watch the videos, and then, there's a few little worksheets that go with the free workshop as well. So that's an option. If you want to take the full class and do a deep dive with me, starting whenever you want to, it's at your own schedule and own pace, then you're definitely going to want to visit the grocerybudgetmakeover.com/join. I will have that in the show notes as well if you want to just go straight on into the class. I've given you a little bit of information here about it, a little bit of breakdown of how it works, but if you want to do that, you can do that. All right, let's wrap this up. Please, if you want more fun information, tidbits, insight, inspiration, motivation, all the things that we share each week here on the Erin Chase Show, please subscribe. If you're watching live on Facebook, you can subscribe to get future notices. We're live at 2 p.m. Central Time on Tuesday afternoons every week. And then you can also watch the replay on the page here. You can also watch the replay on YouTube. We put it there as well. And then, of course, we have the audio version of this going out onto our podcast, The Erin Chase Show, in your podcast player. If you want to listen to this, we put them onto the podcast player on Fridays. So this episode now will be on Friday. So you can subscribe to the Erin Chase Show on your favorite podcast player as well. It goes out to several of the different ones that are out there. My guess is you can find it on yours, whichever one your favorite is. So that is how the Erin Chase Show works as far as what's live, and then how you can catch the replay, either watching or listening. So that is all for this week, my friend. I hope you have an amazing week. We'll be back next week on Tuesday. We will be going into a kind of a how-to, definitely going to be a how-to of freezer meals, why they work, how they work, why I do them the way I do them, why our philosophy works so well. We're going to dive into all of that. So I've given you the background on $5 dinners last week, the information on the grocery budget makeover and grocery savings in general this week. And then we're going to talk about how freezer meals and also how grocery savings kind of all fits together into this sort of magical option and formula for spending a whole lot less money on groceries. So if you listened here, it'll almost be a continuation. They tie together nicely in next week's show. So be sure to subscribe and tune into that next week. So that's it for this week, my friend. It's bye for now, and I will see you soon.